My dear sisters, today I want to share something that is not measured by the brand of clothes you wear, the number of followers you have, or the compliments you receive. The true value of a woman is not found in outward appearances, but in the quiet strength, wisdom, and character she carries within her. You see, in a world where people are constantly told they must prove themselves through possessions, status, or beauty, the real power lies in choosing to rise above these illusions. Being a high-value woman is not about being superior to anyone. It is about being deeply connected to your own worth and living from a place of dignity, grace, and purpose. A high-value woman does not chase attention. She attracts respect. She does not demand love. She inspires it. She does not beg for recognition. She embodies it. And just like a priceless diamond, her value does not diminish when placed in the mud. It remains rare, strong, and radiant. Let us then reflect on the qualities that make a woman truly high in value, not in society's eyes alone, but in her own heart and in the eyes of those who truly matter. When we speak of being a woman of true value, it all begins with how you view yourself. If you do not honor your own worth, the world will never honor it for you. Too often, we live in a society that tells women to prove themselves by fitting into molds. How they look, how much they achieve, how much they sacrifice for others. But beneath all those layers, the question remains, do you respect yourself enough to set the tone for how others treat you? Self-respect is not about arrogance, and it is not about pride. It is about standing tall in the truth of who you are, regardless of the opinions, expectations, or pressures of others. Imagine a beautiful painting hanging in a gallery. People may come and admire it. Some may criticize it. Some may even ignore it. But the value of the painting does not change simply because of how others respond. Its worth comes from the fact that it is a masterpiece, unique and irreplaceable. A woman with self-respect understands that her value is inherent, like that painting. She does not need every passerby to validate her beauty or talent. She knows she is already valuable. Now, here's the challenge: life will constantly test this belief. There will be people who try to take advantage of kindness, relationships where love may demand compromise of dignity, workplaces where recognition might come at the cost of personal principles. In these moments, a woman of self-respect makes a choice. She chooses herself, not in a selfish way, but in a way that affirms that her worth cannot be negotiated. For example, in relationships, self-respect may mean walking away from someone who does not honor your feelings. Even if your heart is attached, it takes immense courage to say, I love, but I will not lose myself in this love. In friendships, it may mean refusing to stay in circles where gossip, envy, or manipulation are the norm, because you know you deserve a healthier environment. In work, it may mean drawing clear lines about what you will and will not compromise. Even if shortcuts tempt you or unfair demands are made, these decisions may sometimes feel lonely. but they strengthen the foundation of your being. Self-respect also reflects in the smallest details. How you talk to yourself in the mirror, how you respond when people dismiss you, how you carry yourself when no one is watching. When you constantly criticize yourself, you teach others that it is acceptable to do the same. But when you speak with kindness to your own heart, when you stand tall even in silence, you radiate a message: I know my value, and I will not allow anyone to treat me as less. This is where real empowerment begins. Empowerment does not come from shouting louder or proving endlessly that you are strong. It comes from the quiet decision to never betray your own dignity. It comes from the inner confidence that even if the whole world fails to see your light, you will not dim it yourself. Such a woman does not attract respect by force. She inspires it naturally. People look at her and think, if she respects herself so much, how can I not do the same? When you root yourself in self-respect, you stop chasing validation and begin attracting admiration. You stop begging for love and start inspiring love. You stop running after opportunities and instead, opportunities find their way to you. Self-respect is the soil in which every other virtue grows. Confidence, kindness, independence, and even love. Without it, everything else crumbles. With it, you become unshakable. Life will always bring us moments of joy and moments of pain. One day the sun is shining, and everything seems to move smoothly. But the next day, a storm arrives, and suddenly nothing feels the same. In these constant ups and downs, the real measure of a high value woman is not how she behaves when everything is perfect, but how she carries herself when life feels heavy, uncertain, or unfair. Emotional stability is the strength that allows a woman to stay balanced in the middle of chaos, to remain calm even when the world around her seems restless. It is not about suppressing emotions or pretending to be unaffected. It is about feeling deeply while still choosing not to be consumed by those feelings. Imagine a tree standing in the middle of a field. Storms come with harsh winds. Rain pours heavily. Seasons change, but the tree does not uproot itself with every gust of wind. It bends, it sways. Sometimes it loses its leaves, but its roots hold firmly into the ground. In the same way, a woman of inner strength feels the storms of life, disappointments, criticisms, heartbreaks, but she does not allow them to uproot her entire identity. She bends, but she does not break. Emotional stability also means knowing how to respond rather than react. Many times, situations provoke anger, fear, or sadness, and the immediate urge is to lash out, to withdraw, or to crumble. But a woman with inner strength pauses. She allows herself a moment to breathe, to reflect, and then she responds with clarity. Her calmness does not come from ignorance of problems. It comes from the wisdom that storms eventually pass and that her peace is too precious to be handed over to every passing circumstance. Consider a situation at work where unfair criticism is thrown at her. Instead of being shattered by the words, she listens carefully, discerns what may be true. learns from it if necessary, and lets go of what is unfair. Or in a relationship, if someone tries to provoke her into arguments, she does not escalate the conflict with uncontrolled reactions. Instead, she chooses dignity over drama, not because she is weak, but because she knows her emotional energy is not worth wasting on every spark of negativity. That is the sign of real strength. Not the loudest voice, but the steady one. At times, emotional strength is also about handling loneliness. There are moments in life when people leave, when support is scarce, when the heart feels empty. In such moments, a high-value woman does not drown herself in self-pity. She acknowledges the age. But she also reminds herself that her worth is not reduced by someone else's absence. She learns to be comfortable in her own company, to nurture herself, and to rise again even when no hand is there to lift her. This stability does not come overnight. It is built gradually, through reflection, through struggles, through experiences that teach patience and resilience. Each heartbreak, each setback, each disappointment can either make a woman bitter or stronger. And the high-value woman chooses strength. She turns wounds into wisdom, obstacles into lessons, and pain into power. She does not allow temporary emotions to dictate permanent decisions. Instead, she learns the art of balance, feeling without drowning, hoping without clinging, and loving without losing herself. Emotional stability also shines in her presence. When she enters a room, she brings calmness instead of chaos. People feel safe to speak to her because she listens without judgment, and they admire her because she does not get easily shaken by gossip, drama, or pressure. Her stability becomes a gift, not just to herself, but to everyone around her. She becomes like that tree in the field, offering shade, comfort, and reassurance, no matter how strong the winds blow. Every woman at some stage in life will face the question of what relationships mean and how much space they should occupy in her heart. Love, friendship, family bonds, even professional connections, all of these shape us, nurture us, and at times hurt us. The value of a woman is not measured by how many relationships she has, but by the wisdom with which she manages them. A woman of high value does not chase validation from people around her. Instead, she seeks connections that are genuine, meaningful, and rooted in respect. She understands that being loved is beautiful, but being valued is far more important. So many times, society pushes the idea that a woman must constantly please others, sacrifice endlessly, or stay silent in order to keep relationships intact. But wisdom in relationships teaches us the opposite. It is not about losing yourself for others, but about sharing yourself in a way that nurtures both sides. Love should not feel like chains that bind. It should feel like wings that allow both to grow. A high-value woman realizes that if a relationship costs her dignity, peace, or self-respect, then the price is too high. Think of a candle. When you light another candle, your flame does not diminish, it multiplies. Relationships work the same way. When love is real, it does not demand you to dim your light it allows you to shine brighter. A wise woman chooses to surround herself with people who add to her flame, not those who try to extinguish it. She knows the difference between love that uplifts and love that drains. This discernment is what keeps her heart strong and her spirit free. In friendships, wisdom is shown when she does not confuse closeness with constant availability. She knows her value is not defined by how often she says yes to everyone's requests. She gives when she can with a full heart, but she is not afraid to say no when her boundaries are at stake. True friends will respect her limits. Those who do not are not truly friends. In romantic relationships, her wisdom allows her to balance vulnerability with discernment. She opens her heart to love, but does not surrender her identity in the process. She knows that real love does not demand the loss of self, but rather the celebration of it. She does not stay in a relationship just to avoid loneliness. Nor does she tolerate repeated disrespect in the name of love. Instead, she carries the courage to walk away from what diminishes her, trusting that what is meant for her will never require her to betray her worth. Even in family bonds, where expectations are often the heaviest, she chooses respect without blind submission. She loves deeply, but she also stands firm when her principles are challenged. Her wisdom is seen in how she balances care with self-preservation, devotion with individuality. And in her professional life, relationships take on a different form. She treats colleagues with kindness, but refuses to play games of manipulation or politics. She knows the difference between networking for genuine growth and networking out of desperation for approval. She collaborates with dignity, understanding that real success is never built on unhealthy dependence. Ultimately, wisdom in relationships means she does not allow the fear of losing people to make her lose herself. She cherishes those who treat her with respect and lets go of those who do not. She does not waste energy proving her worth to those who refuse to see it. Instead, she invests her love, care, and loyalty in places where they are honored. This wisdom makes her relationships not only stronger, but also more peaceful, because they are built on mutual trust, respect, and authenticity. The world often measures a woman's value by how she looks, how gracefully she dresses, or how much attention she can attract in a crowd. While appearance can be appreciated, it is never the essence of true worth. Beauty fades, trends change, and admiration based on looks alone is fragile. It lasts only until someone new enters the room. A woman of true value knows that her purpose must go far beyond appearance. Her identity is not built on mirrors, makeup, or the fleeting approval of others. Instead, it is grounded in her vision, her principles, and her contribution to the lives she touches. Think about a flower in full bloom. People admire its color, its fragrance, its delicacy. But what gives the flower real importance is not just its outer beauty. It is the life it sustains. Bees draw nectar from it. The air is purified by its presence. And even when it withers, it nourishes the soil. In the same way, A woman's beauty may first catch the eye, but what leaves a lasting impact is how she adds value to the world around her. Her kindness, her wisdom, her integrity. These are the things that endure. When a woman's purpose is defined by her appearance, she becomes trapped in an endless chase for validation. Every wrinkle feels like a threat. Every comparison feels like competition. Every criticism feels like a wound. But when her purpose is rooted in something deeper, she rises above these fears. She does not see herself as incomplete without compliments, because she knows her life is not about how many eyes turn toward her, but about how many hearts are uplifted by her presence. A woman with purpose asks herself bigger questions. What difference do I make? What values do I stand for? What legacy do I want to leave? These questions become her compass. While others may spend their lives polishing the surface, she focuses on building her depth. This does not mean she neglects her appearance. She may carry herself with elegance, with grace, with style, but she never lets these things define her. She uses them as expressions of who she is, not as the foundation of her identity. For example, in her work, she may be known not just for how she looks when she walks into the room, but for the brilliance of her ideas and the integrity of her actions. In her friendships, she is valued not for how fashionable she is, but for how trustworthy and supportive she can be. In her family, she is remembered not for how youthful she appeared, but for the wisdom, love, and guidance she shared. Appearance may open doors temporarily, but purpose keeps them open permanently. Even in moments of failure or hardship, a woman with purpose does not crumble. When beauty alone defines a person, aging or rejection can feel devastating. But when purpose defines a woman, every challenge becomes part of her growth. Every season adds to her wisdom, and every wrinkle becomes a testimony of experience. She sees herself not as someone diminishing with time, but as someone deepening with time. A life of purpose also radiates an inner glow that no external beauty can match. People are naturally drawn to those who live with vision, conviction, and authenticity. Such a woman becomes magnetic not because of the colors she wears, but because of the values she carries. She shines not only when the lights are on her, but even in the quiet moments when no one is watching, because her life is aligned with something greater than appearances. There is a common misconception that compassion means weakness, that to be soft is to be fragile, that kindness is an invitation for others to take advantage. But true compassion is never weakness. It is a strength so profound that not everyone can carry it. A woman of high value embodies compassion, but she pairs it with strength. She has the ability to forgive, but she also has the courage to set limits. She can be gentle with her words, yet firm with her actions. She is not naive about the world, but she chooses to keep her heart open despite knowing the risks of being hurt. That is not weakness, that is extraordinary resilience. Think of water. It is soft to the touch, flowing and nurturing, yet it has the power to carve valleys, through mountains, to break stones over time, to sustain life itself. Compassion works in the same way. It can seem delicate, but in truth, it is one of the most powerful forces in the world. A woman with compassion uses her kindness to heal wounds, to inspire hope, to lift the weary. But she does not allow her kindness to be abused. Like water, she adapts, she flows, but she also knows how to create boundaries when necessary. For example, when someone wrongs her, she may forgive, not because the other person deserves forgiveness, but because she values her own peace more than holding on to bitterness. Yet forgiving does not mean forgetting her worth. She may no longer hold anger, but she also does not allow repeated disrespect. If someone continues to harm her, she steps back with dignity. This balance is the beauty of compassion with strength. She can wish people well from afar without needing to keep them close. Her compassion also shows in the way she uplifts others. She listens with genuine attention, offering comfort without judgment. She encourages when someone feels small. She supports when others are weak. But unlike those who enable toxic behavior in the name of love, she knows when to say, enough. Compassion does not mean sacrificing her own well, being endlessly for others. She understands that in order to give to others, she must first remain strong herself. This is why her compassion does not drain her, it empowers her. In her relationships, this strength allows her to love deeply without losing herself. She gives her partner warmth, care, and tenderness, but she does not tolerate manipulation or disrespect. In friendships, she is the one people turn to for advice and support, but she does not let others continuously take without giving back. Even in her family, where expectations may weigh heavy, she balances love with self-respect, making sure that care is mutual and not one-sided. This balance is also what makes her leadership powerful. In workplaces or communities, people admire her not just for her capability, but for her fairness. She shows empathy to her team, but she does not compromise standards. She makes decisions with a kind heart, but also with clarity and firmness. Others feel safe around her because they know she is compassionate, but they also respect her because they know she is strong. The truth is, anyone can be cold and harsh, but it takes extraordinary courage to remain compassionate in a world that sometimes feels cruel. A woman of high value does not allow bitterness to harden her heart. She continues to care, to nurture, to spread light, even when life has given her reasons to shut down. That is her strength, choosing love over hate, dignity over revenge, compassion over cruelty, all while protecting her own self-worth. And in doing so, she becomes a source of quiet power, the kind of power that cannot be broken by anyone or anything. One of the most striking qualities of a woman with true value is her refusal to remain stagnant. She understands that life is a journey of constant evolution and that every day presents an opportunity to become wiser, stronger, and more refined. In the growth for her is not just about external success, it is about internal transformation. She does not cling to who she was yesterday because she knows her true power lies in becoming a better version of herself tomorrow. There is a quiet humility in the way she approaches learning. She does not assume that she knows everything, no matter how experienced or accomplished she may be. Instead, she approaches life with curiosity, as if every interaction, every challenge, and every season carries a hidden lesson. Where some may see failure, she sees feedback. Where some may see rejection, she sees redirection. Where some may see difficulty, she sees the chance to grow in patience, resilience, or wisdom. Imagine a river. It never remains in one place. It keeps flowing, carving new paths, nourishing lands, and adapting to every obstacle in its way. That is the spirit of a woman committed to growth. She refuses to stay trapped in the comfort of familiarity. If the current of life pushes her to learn new skills, explore new perspectives, or let go of old habits, she embraces the challenge rather than resisting it. She knows that only by flowing forward can she remain alive and purposeful. In her personal life, this commitment shows in the way she seeks self-awareness. She reflects on her words, her choices, and her relationships, asking herself what lessons they carry. She is not afraid to admit mistakes because she understands that mistakes are stepping stones, not final destinations. In her professional life, she pursues growth not just to climb ladders, but to expand her abilities so that she can contribute more meaningfully. Whether it is through books, courses, mentors, or experiences, she invests in her own development with consistency and intention. Growth for her is not limited to external achievements either. She nourishes her emotional and spiritual self as much as her intellect. She practices self-care, mindfulness, or prayer, whatever helps her remain centered and open to deeper understanding. She realizes that learning is not only about accumulating knowledge, but also about cultivating wisdom, compassion, and clarity of purpose. This journey of continuous learning also makes her adaptable. Life is unpredictable. Plans fail, circumstances shift, people change. Instead of resisting these changes or being broken by them, she adapts with grace. She understands that resilience comes not from holding on tightly to old ways, but from embracing new ways with an open heart. This adaptability becomes one of her greatest strengths because it allows her to thrive even in uncertainty. Her commitment to growth also inspires those around her. People see her evolving, and it encourages them to look at their own lives differently. She becomes a reminder that we are never too old to learn, never too broken to heal, never too experienced to grow further. Her life itself becomes a living testimony of progress, that no matter where you start, you can always rise higher. A woman who chooses continuous growth and learning values progress over perfection. She does not compare herself endlessly to others because her only competition is with the woman she was yesterday. She celebrates small improvements, knowing that each step adds to her strength, her wisdom, and her beauty within. And with every lesson she learns, She adds another layer of depth to her character in the making her presence even more impactful in the world around her. A high-value woman understands the balance between standing firmly on her own feet and yet remaining humble enough to walk hand in hand with others. Independence for her is not simply about earning money or living alone. It is about having the strength to rely on herself emotionally, mentally, and spiritually without being enslaved by the need for constant validation. She values her freedom, her choices, and her self-reliance, but she never allows independence to turn into arrogance. She knows that true strength is the ability to live without dependence, but the wisdom to remain open to connection. Independence begins in the mind. It is the ability to say, I am whole as I am. My worth does not depend on someone else's approval or presence. A woman who embodies this spirit does not fear loneliness because she has cultivated comfort in her own company. She can sit quietly with herself, reflect, create, and enjoy solitude without feeling incomplete. This inner independence makes her relationship stronger because she does not cling out of fear. She connects out of choice. She loves freely, not desperately. At the same time, humility keeps her grounded. She may be capable of achieving much on her own, but she does not look down upon those who live differently. She does not boast about her independence or use it as a weapon to belittle others. Instead, she carries it with grace, understanding that every person's journey is unique and that interdependence is part of being human. Even while she is self-sufficient, she is willing to accept love, guidance, and support when it is offered. She does not see asking for help as a weakness, but as an act of wisdom. In practical life, this balance is seen in the way she manages her responsibilities. She can handle her finances, make her decisions, and plan her future with confidence. She does not wait for someone else to rescue her, nor does she allow fear to hold her back from taking bold steps. Yet she also knows that life is richer when shared. If she enters into a partnership, whether in love, work, or friendship, it is not out of dependency, but out of mutual respect and collaboration. She understands that independence does not mean isolation, and humility does not mean submission. Independence with humility also shapes the way she handles success. She may rise high in her career, earn recognition, or accomplish great goals, but she never lets pride distance her from others. She remains approachable, kind, and generous. She does not measure herself by titles or possessions, but by the way she treats people, no matter their status. Her humility becomes the very quality that multiplies her influence, because people respect not only her achievements, but also her character. This balance is powerful because it creates harmony. Too much independence without humility can make a person cold, detached, or self-centered. Too much humility without independence can make a person vulnerable to exploitation. But when both coexist, a woman becomes unshakable. She is confident yet gentle, strong yet kind, self-reliant yet open-hearted. She inspires others not only to respect her, but also to learn from her example. Independence with humility is like a bird that knows how to fly high in the sky, but also remembers how to return to the ground. A woman who lives this way is admired because she shows the world that you can be strong without being harsh and humble without being weak. Her life is a reminder that real empowerment is not about proving superiority, but about living with balance, rooted in strength, yet softened by grace. Grace is one of those rare qualities that cannot be bought, borrowed, or imitated. It is not about expensive clothes, polished speech, or perfect manners alone. Grace is deeper. It is the elegance of character, the poise with which a woman carries herself, the subtle strength in the way she speaks, acts, and even reacts. A high-value woman does not simply move through life. She flows through it with dignity, leaving behind a sense of calm and respect wherever she goes. Grace is first revealed in the way she communicates. She does not raise her voice unnecessarily, nor does she belittle others to prove her intelligence. Her words are chosen with care, carrying kindness without losing firmness. She understands that language has power to heal or to hurt, and she uses it wisely. Even in disagreement, she does not humiliate or insult. Instead, she speaks with clarity and composure, ensuring that her truth is expressed without cruelty. This makes people not only listen to her, but also admire her. Grace is also reflected in how she carries herself physically. She does not need to wear the most glamorous attire to command attention. Instead, it is the quiet confidence in her posture, the calmness in her expressions, the simplicity in her appearance that makes her magnetic. She understands that beauty is magnified when accompanied by self-respect, and she allows her presence to speak before she even utters a word. People often remember not just what she wore, but how she made them feel in her presence. In her interactions, Grace shows us patience. When faced with rudeness, she does not mirror the same energy. When others lose control, she does not allow herself to be dragged into chaos. Instead, she responds with a composed demeanor that disarms negativity. This does not mean she tolerates disrespect. It means she knows that losing her composure is too high a price to pay for someone else's mistake. Her calmness becomes her shield, her dignity her weapon. In thee, grace is also evident in the way she treats those who cannot offer her anything in return. The way she greets a waiter, speaks to a child, or listens to a stranger reflects more about her character than her achievements ever could. A truly graceful woman does not reserve kindness for people of status or power. She treats everyone with equal respect because she knows dignity is not selective. This quality is what makes people feel safe, valued, and honored around her. Another layer of grace lies in how she handles success and failure. When she achieves something significant, she does not boast or seek to overshadow others. She accepts praise with humility, acknowledging her efforts without arrogance. And when she faces failure, she does not crumble in bitterness or blame others. Instead, she accepts setbacks with quiet courage, learning from them without letting them define her. This balance of humility in success and resilience in failure makes her presence deeply admirable. Grace also extends to the way she carries herself in private moments. Even when no one is watching, she lives with integrity. She does not act dignified only for the audience of others. It is her natural way of being. She maintains discipline in her habits, sincerity in her actions, and authenticity in her choices. This inner grace radiates outward, creating harmony in every aspect of her life. Ultimately, grace in conduct is what makes a woman unforgettable. People may forget the details of her conversations, the specifics of her achievements, or even the clothes she wore, but they will always remember the way she carried herself with dignity, respect, and quiet strength. Grace is the invisible crown she wears every day. A crown that does not need to be announced yet is recognized by everyone who crosses her path.